Thank you so much for joining our live stream today. I'm George Butler, Head of Marketing at Radio Centre, and we've got businesses across the UK tuning in to hear all about the role radio can play for your organisation, and more importantly, how to get the most out of your radio advertising.
So as we're talking about commercial radio today, we should look at the commercial audio split and the percentage of audio you can advertise on. And as you can see from this, radio, sorry to use the word again, is dominant. We are 83% of commercial audio split. On-demand music services, so those that you can advertise on, and podcasts who are non-BBC, it's 9% and 8%. And if you're wondering if it's same for younger audiences, so this is the age group who've grown up with access to streaming and podcasts, and there's an interesting pattern here too. If you look at the top layer, it's a weekly reach of 66% of that audience. Whereas if you look at the bottom of the chart, you'll see that that has leveled off for podcasts and streaming services as well. But the big benefit the radio has is that it can be listened to while people are working. You don't have to do anything, you switch it on, it's the ultimate multitasking medium. And the good news is that this audience is really receptive to advertising. Over half of them agree that when they hear something advertised on the radio, they'll often look it up online, providing a huge opportunity to engage with this previously difficult to reach audience.
So at this time, the market isn't behaving as it normally would. You've got different sectors experiencing very different conditions. Some of you may have discovered that your businesses have thrived, whereas for others, it may have been more of a struggle. To call this last year a time of upheaval would be an understatement, but one study found that when people experience a significant life event, they're strongly more inclined to try a new brand. Well, what we know is that there are three important ingredients needed for successful long-term brand-building campaigns. Those are reach, emotion, and fame. But how does radio stack up against these? So reach, or what's basically a large audience, leads to long-term brand building. And as Lucy's already mentioned, radio is a reach medium, as 36 million are tuning in every week. So advertising that reaches as large an audience as possible is naturally far more effective at attempting to build deep, loyal relationships with existing customers. This chart demonstrates how brands which target the whole market achieve 3 times as many large business effects, and they include things like profits, sales, market share, as those that focus just on existing customers. Emotional response also builds long-term benefits. At the most basic level, radio makes people happy. Positive mood translates into engagement with ads, particularly when they resonate at an emotional level. More importantly, from our perspective, the same study shows that listeners feel twice as happy when listening to the radio compared to when they're not consuming any media. So I've considered how radio can help build your brand, but it is also highly effective at delivering important short-term effects as well. In the immediate term, radio is a highly cost-effective way of getting your message out to as many people as possible. So Radio Centre's re-evaluating media study shows that for every £1 spent, radio delivers at least twice as many ad impressions as any other medium. Or for another thing, it's got a unique ability to communicate with customers at relevant times. We can see here how adding radio to other media in a campaign significantly boosts ad awareness.
The Radio Centre have asked me to come and talk about planning a radio campaign. So we've put together 6 steps for you. The first thing that the representative from the radio station will ask you is, what's your need? This, in my role, helps us immensely because we know what you want to get out of the campaign. If we know that, we can start to put the right campaign together for you that's going to have a decent effect. So different needs could be you're having a sale, you need to shift a certain amount of a set product by a set deadline. DFS do this incredibly well, lots of other examples as well. The ad may go along the lines of there's 70% off if you buy before the end of Sunday, sale ends at 4 o'clock. This is called a call to action and a deadline has been set. We want people to act and we want them to come in now. Radio is incredibly good at doing this and has been used by motor dealers month in, month out for many, many years to drive sales. So what's your need? Then we need to know the target audience. Who are you after? Because that defines when we schedule adverts. It defines potentially the radio brand that we go for. We then need to know where you want to target. And this is where the minefield starts because we've already talked about FM transmitters and DAB transmitters. All of these transmitters have lots of different coverage across the UK. You can be defined to a marketplace such as North Wales. You could go for some targeted advertising in an area like Plymouth. You may want to go with a region like the Northwest or the Northeast, or you may look for national cover. And then the killer question. I've been in sales for nearly 15 years, and the answer is never as straight as you would like it. What is your marketing budget? Many people don't like to tell us because they think we'll look to spend the whole budget. What we simply want to do is make sure that we put together a robust campaign that is going to deliver a return on investment. I'm going to talk now top line about the ways that you can use radio stations. You could have spot advertising, so that's traditional 10, 20, 30-second ads, which are owned by you, the client, and carry your commercial message. You could look at sponsorships, say the weather, the travel, certain shows. All radio stations have lots of different sponsorship opportunities. That puts you within the brand and in the fabric of the radio station with a brand positioning message. You may want to attach yourself to a large, exciting promotion like the promotion that recently ran on the Heart Network, giving away £1 million. You can get the planning right. You can put as much money into it as you want with your spots and your impacts and your reach, and you could be on every 5 minutes. But if the creative doesn't tell a story and it doesn't give the right message, sadly, you're not going to get a return on investment. And that's reinforced in the Radio Centre's study of missing millions. It's one of the very, very important components.
What's great about radio is that with a very little amount of resource, which is unlike other advertising channels, with just a little bit of resource, you can get your message out to millions and thousands and millions of people. All you need is an idea, somewhere to record, and someone to voice the commercial. And the beauty of radio is that when someone hears your commercial, they create their own visual interpretation in their mind, and therefore they create something that's more personally relevant. When you're writing your brief, make sure you have a well-considered and honest articulation of your proposition. And to do that, the thing to do is to identify what your brand's truth is and embrace it and leverage that. Because by doing that, you'll really resonate with your target audience in an authentic way. If you bombard the radio listener with too many messages in any one commercial, the likelihood is they'll come away from the commercial not remembering any. If you've got loads of product benefits and reasons to believe and reasons why they should trust your brand or go to your brand, spread them out over multiple commercials rather than filling them all into one. We need to connect with people on an emotional level. Radio is such an emotional medium, so it's important that we connect with people on an emotional, not just rational level. And I think by doing that, and when I say emotional level, I don't mean we need to tug at heartstrings all of the time. I mean, we just need to sound human. So you find a way to bring your product benefits to life. So for example, if your product saves people time, talk about the fun things they'll be able to do with the extra time they now have as a result of using your product. We get people to care about our brands by being, by educating, by being entertaining, and by showing empathy. It's the creativity that sells. The creative idea should never be irrelevant or, gratuitous. Enjoy yourself, because making radio commercials is a hell of a lot less stressful than making TV commercials, but when done well, they're just as effective. And radio is more emotionally engaging than banner ads and print ads.
Branded content is paid for marketing that's paid for by an advertiser and delivered by a channel, and in this case, radio. But what is branded content when it comes to commercial radio? Well, to define it further, branded content creates engaging commercial solutions for clients that bring campaigns to life and helps communicate a client's set of key messages. Branded content allows clients to take advantage of extensive range of creative opportunities and partnerships that stations have available within their programming output. It offers clients a closer relationship with a station's listenership and the digital and social media audiences that they have. And because radio has always had huge levels of trust and loyalty, branded content campaigns allow advertisers the benefit from this and the unique relationship that radio stations, all shapes and sizes up and down the UK, enjoy with millions of listeners every day. Radio is woven into the very fabric of our daily lives. Audiences wake up to it. School runs are fueled by it. The working day is assisted by it. You cook dinners, you walk the dog, you take a shower, you chill out, you fall asleep. All of these personal and intimate moments that radio plays a part of, and via branded content, you can too. There are many variable touch points when it comes to branded content that we can use to connect your brands with our listeners day in, day out. If we look at the core on-air opportunities, we have the well-known sponsorship platforms whereby you can sponsor a show or a feature within a show, day parts or even weekends. You have promotions to run competitions via. There's insights or advertorial campaigns to land the more emotive or impactful messages. We can produce podcasts to tell a story, to teach a new hobby, to educate and entertain, to make listeners laugh, of which your brand can be a part of it. Our audiences are engaged. They have a relationship with our presenters and our brands, and when they like what they hear, they do as they do when a friend offers advice. They instinctively trust that message and act on it. Quite simply, branded content campaigns work. They really, really work. The success, as we've already heard, lies in the initial brief that we can take from our account managers. The more information that we can gather from you, the client, the more information that we can build into the brief, the better the content solution that we'll be able to hand back to you.
In my experience, every business needs an ambition to grow. Yeah, even if your intent is quite modest, every business now needs to adopt an entrepreneurial mindset if they want to survive. So waiting for customers to find you rarely works. And the consequences of not winning businesses can be very serious indeed, both in terms of financial and mental health for both the business and for you, its founder. So how do you overcome the hardest challenge of all, which is access to customers? Well, for me, the thing that I see working now, particularly in the digital era, is building communities. People rarely buy things these days without having some kind of rapport with the person selling them, and or a conversation about the purchase. So once you've established your community, you have to think about ways of attracting new people to join in the conversation and to become aware of your brand. And that's where radio can add huge value, especially locally. The UK is still a highly active radio listening nation. In fact, you heard earlier, more than 36 million adults tune in every week. And if you're wondering what to broadcast, there are two things that I think are really important. Firstly, showcase customers that love what you do. Positive testimonials are hugely effective. And talk about innovation, the new products and services that you're offering, whether that's just something as simple as now you can book online or through to a new service that customers are raving about. Radio represents, for online businesses, the opportunity of raising awareness to new customers, both locally and beyond. Secondly, it's interesting hearing about mood. This is a personal reflection. Amongst my friends and my family, listening is the new thing. Since the pandemic, we've all become screen fatigued. We're all working from home more. We want sounds that lighten our mood and audio content to fuel our thoughts. In a world obsessed with eyeballs, perhaps, the ears have it.
And don't forget, you can find out more about radio and the role it can play for your business, along with free training and a brilliant tool to help find stations in your area. You can put in where you are looking to advertise. You will get a list of the stations in your area. You can tick the ones you're interested in, and then they will get in touch with you after that. It's so super, super simple. All of that, all the resource hub is available at radiocentre.org/business.